I'm ready.
All right. Should we? Yeah. Let's start. Um, Thank you everyone for joining us. This is week 8 of the ICA's Open Video Call 2020. Our featured artist is Marc Williams in this video from Loved Ones. Um, my name is Matthew Ober. I'm a member of Lino Kino. Lino Kino is a Philadelphia media arts collective, and we do experimental screenings of film, video, performance around the city before COVID, obviously. And now we're doing this. And Marcus, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, and so I'm Marcus. I'm a member of Lino Kino. I'm also a photographer, and I've been with Lino Kino for a little over a year now. And I'm excited for week 8, the finale of
Yeah,
OVC 2020.
it's so crazy. It's gone by so fast, or I don't know, so slow and so fast. Every time is really weird right now. But
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, also before I forget, I want to say there is closed captioning. If you go to the bottom of your screen on the right hand side, you can click that, and there'll be closed captioning. And I forget where it is on for phone, but yeah, it's that option is there as well. Um, yeah, did I forget anything else, or should we get into it?
yeah, let's get into it.
All right.
Okay.
How are you doing, Mark?
I'm doing pretty good. Just chilling. Uh, yeah, just chilling.
Are
Uh,
you're in your house right now?
yeah, this is my bedroom. I was like thinking about where I should like do this at, and I was like, what if I do this like somewhere like on a roof or like somewhere very scenic? And then I was just like, nah, the bedroom's good. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it
Yeah,
feels appropriate also because like it's the setting, it's the setting for your video, right?
yeah,
It
no,
feels very. This is immersive.
yeah, very like meta.
no, it's like
Yeah,
I'm gonna play the video and I want people to really feel like they're here. So that's definitely
Yeah.
something.
Um, yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that's I don't know. I don't know where to go in, what angle to go in, but I guess I'll just start. Yeah, start with like the setting, and I guess that personal aspect of it because it's a really personal video.
Yeah,
Um, but like there's an interesting like divide of personal and impersonal going on because of it's in your space. It's you having a conversation. That's all really personal. But then there's these media streams like uh, on Instagram and videos and screens within the screen, and all that is really like uh, impersonal, and it kind of takes you away from yourself. So, do you want to talk about that a bit?
yeah. I think it's funny the way you say like, oh, like all those settings are kind of like impersonal, but in a way where I'm like layering the screens from like Instagram and Twitter, I'm thinking about those as like a space, like a personal space. Like
Mm,
my feed is so curated and in a way where like obviously like we know like advertisers and stuff like that like take directly what you do and kind of like shove that back at you. But those are all very personal spaces. So I mean, thinking about what is the difference between my bedroom and then my Instagram feed and like how personal those are to me because I probably spend a very close amount of time between the two of the so just like that. I don't really think that and it's funny because like I think I was like thinking about how the difference is like between those spaces and I really don't even see any, so that's why I kind of felt it appropriate to just layer them all together because they really are one space to me, but I mean obviously there are differences in that.
yeah, that's super interesting.
yeah. It's interesting how someone's Instagram feed can be, representative of themselves, regardless of the notion that there is a sort of disconnect with real life on those feeds. Um, and I think that the video really touches on the juxtaposition between uh, connecting with people in the physical world and connecting with people online. And I think it's really interesting how you do say that that is a personal space for you. You know, that is a part of your life that exists, that you share with people, and that's tangible and real to you. Because I've always, you know, thinking about the internet and the vast cultural shift from the physical world to the internet, I always think that there's this sort of pushback and that there's this sort of argument that there's no connectivity online. Um, but I think it's interesting how there is a group of people and artists who uh, find the true tangible connections online. Um, and so I was going to ask, I'm interested about your process too, your editing process, and how you decided to put all those clips together and sort of, you know, make this minute-long piece,
Yeah.
but have it feel like there is a beginning, middle, and end, but you know, still making it feel sort of fast-paced.
Yeah, I mean, think about process in that and deciding what not to put in and what to put in. The choice was kind of like put everything in, put as much as I can in. Like if I see it, put it in. If I hear it, put it in. If it's around me, put it in. And especially at that time where we can only be inside, because it was like lockdown, I just put everything in that I was surrounded by. And I think that that touches back on like the setting where it's like, and even like that connectivity online. Um, I couldn't, like, you can't see your friends in person. I can't have these jokes with my friends about things that are happening right now that are outside, because the only place we can connect now, or at that time, was online. So I think that space like felt so personal, and it was just like put everything in that happening right there, because there was just so much going in. So I don't think during my process I thought about cutting anything too much. I literally, anything I had, I tried to put it in that I consumed at that time, like everything I watched, just like every feed I had.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt that. Like watching it, like back in April for the first time, it was like, I think the first time I watched it, it was like really overwhelming for me. Like out of like I had to watch it a bunch of times, and I think that it be a minute long is like you can watch it a bunch of times, and I feel like right as it ended, I already was like, okay, wait, what happened? Like, so I like watched it like, you know, 3 more times because I could, it was easy to. And I think that's like, yeah, that's an interesting strength of the work, is like you can kind of, it's like almost loop it, and
Yeah,
and it feeds, and like, and how the ending is kind of ends on like a like a just a word, like it
right.
doesn't, it's not a definitive ending, so it's kind of like, it's like feeds back into itself, which is
Yeah,
just kind of like cool. And yeah, I really want to talk about yeah, uh just like getting to know you by way of this video, because I feel like, yeah, it's incredibly personal, and it represents a sort of like, yeah, like Lamarcus was saying, like a direction of like a younger generation of artists, like
yeah,
who are interested in just, or like it's maybe just an honest way of like depicting what's around you, and the worlds that you're kind of crossing between.
yeah. I mean, the 1 minute aspect is like, I'm not I'm not in a position right now where I even want to make a 20-minute, hour long, 10,
Right.
5 minute kind of video piece. And I always tell everybody about this, like, in when I'm making work, I know that I have to grab your attention like very quickly, or you're not going to even give it the time of day. Um, so I think that also feeds into the aspect of like how it has to start off like so much. And um, I know that once I get past 10 seconds with you, like you're only there for like your mind probably only has the capacity to take in like another 50 seconds. And I think of at least that kind of media and content, the way it's structured. And I think especially for making a video that accurately describes like kind of what I'm going through for a generation of people who are like going through the same kind of thing as me, I feel that within that minute, they'll just understand immediately kind of what's going on because it's such a fast-paced environment, which just reminds you of like what your time feed is right now and like what scrolling is like right now and what kind of living through that moment was at that time period where everything was just going back so fast, or for some people so slow, but um, it's just crazy how like fast things were going. And I mean, I just had to put that all together and make it feel like that. So I think that's where the 1 minute goes into. And I don't know, I never thought about it looping though. Like I never, so it's funny when you bring that up because for me, it like ended and that was it. I never thought about watching it again. Like I just, when I made it, I just watched it that final time to review it and kind of was done after that. So I didn't really think about that aspect of it.
No, yeah, that, I don't know. I mean, it's not like it does feel definitive, but also I think, yeah, only because I missed like, there's like, you intentionally put too much in to like actually digest, like both on the audio and the video side of things. Like there's multiple music tracks, like the dialogue track and like the sound that's in your room. So it's like, and then of course the video, many screens popping up at the same time. So like, yeah, I just like, where do I put my attention? But that's like, that question is so relevant right now. Like, where do I put my attention? You know?
Yeah. And I mean, at that time, it was like, where do I put my attention? And it was like, I don't know. I really don't know. So I think that's where that idea of like put everything in, because it was like nothing grabbed me. Everything. Well, I don't want to say nothing grabbed me, but everything grabbed me.
Right.
Like I was sucked into everything. Like a million YouTube videos. I watched coronavirus like stats like every day. I watched anime 8 hours a day. Like everything grabbed me. Anything that was like out there to be grabbed, like any form of media, I just took it. Like that's it.
Yeah, and I think that's part of why the pieces of today, I think that there's not necessarily specific images in the piece that I remember, but I remember it's a memorable feeling to watch it. And it really speaks to how our attention is sold today and marketed, and our attention is everywhere. And there's lots of that. There's too much to digest in the information age, and I think the piece is about having too much to digest.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought it was really interesting. It was a really it was a different feeling watching it. It was a certain sort of overwhelming feeling that wasn't. It was making me think about how I carry out my own life and with my devices, and how much do I consume? How much am I spending my time and giving my life away to the things grabbing my attention?
Yeah.
And it really made me think of, I really thought about my experience watching the video a lot. I didn't think about like the anime clip specifically. I thought about the way that the video made me feel about my own consumption of online videos.
Yeah.
And so I sort of felt like I was standing outside. I was looking outside of myself watching it, and kind of, thinking about how people, look day to day and feel day to day when they consume all these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the video kind of acts in itself. And I mean, when we get to later, like from Loved Ones 2, The video is almost like a mind map of like how I felt, like a diary entry of how I felt. And I mean, the stuff put in there is so personal. I understood nobody was gonna relate with every single piece of imagery I put in there, because not everyone is me. Like it was so personal to the idea of that. So I knew that kind of making it was about the feeling, and as long as I can kind of get the feeling to the viewer, that's where I felt the most successful at. So I didn't even kind of consider how people felt like emotionally towards the imagery in it, but just like the feeling of it, and that's where I felt.
Right.
I'm glad that we could talk about that.
Yeah, I just I rewatched it today, and there's like a moment that it's like really really brief, but it's like toward the beginning, you put a split second of like a baby photo of you, and it's only on, it's like less than a second. It's for like a third of a second maybe. But that really, like, watching it back, that really like makes me like invest, like it really pulls me in, and then you take it away. So I was like, yeah. That really like threw me for a loop, like watching it back, like, because it's this emotional world that you kind of tease into for one brief moment, but then it's kind of washed away in this like ocean of like content, which is, and yeah, so that I guess one of the things I wanted to ask you was like, how does like your relationship with media like affect your mood or affect your emotional core?
Oh man, that's so tough. Oh my gosh.
I mean, sorry, it's a complicated question, but
no, I mean we could go into it.
I mean, we don't have to.
No. I feel like I talk about this a lot with my friends, because you know, people will like tell me like, oh, you have like an Instagram addiction, and I'm like, nah, it's not an addiction. I just be on it, like, like I just like it. So I mean, I think for me, my mood, it doesn't like I'm gonna flat out say, like, I need social media right now. Like I need that kind of thing. I need to know what others are talking about, and I think that comes from kind of interconnection of like FOMO, for lack of better words. Like I want to know like what my friends are like thinking about and doing, because I'm not always gonna be texting or calling everybody that surrounds me, but we can unintentionally like kind of, or intentionally like talk to each other through these like just throw out pieces where we throw out a picture with this random caption, we put up a tweet. So I just really want to know what's going on with the kind of in like my circle and outside the circle and just random people outside. And I don't want to say it necessarily takes or kind of like shifts my mood in a way, but I can't say for like the last couple months that there has been a time period where I was without like that kind of connection. And I can't really give a comparison as to how my mood is without it, or talk about that, because I've only been with it I've been with it for forever almost, and kind of coming up since I was like, I'm part of Gen Z, where, you know, like I had Facebook and Instagram when I was like in the 5th grade, like 6th grade.
Yeah.
So that's like almost ingrained to me now, and it's just like a lifestyle. So I can't really talk about my mood without it, because it's just a part of what I do now. For me, please.
Would you I wanted to ask you about the length of the video as it relates to different artworks coming out today by younger contemporary artists. Tierra Whack came out with an album with 15 tracks that are a minute long, and I wanted to see if you could expand on what makes something so short actually feel so complete.
For me, you know, it's a combination of like Tierra Whack and like the mentality. It was like a quote, I think we talked about this before, but from Kanye West, where he's like, I'm only gonna give people like a 20-minute album. because that's all people want to hear is 20 minutes of like just the best they can. And I think that kind of like relates back to TR Wax, where for me that 15 minutes was like all I needed because it was the best 15 minutes that I had probably when I heard that. And then making this video, I don't think people need 2 hours. Like, I don't think people need to sit there and resonate with this work for 3 hours because I can give it to them in a minute. Like, for me, and I think this is just kind of like me talking from like an experience and like doing this for a very short amount of time, but I just don't see why I need to make 2 hours worth of a piece if I can give you a piece in a minute. And that's kind of about that, because like I said, kind of going on Instagram and being around that, I know that when I see something, I make a split kind of second decision on that. And, you know, I feel like people are also kind of that same mindset right now, where they're going to make a split second decision whether they want to watch this video or whether they want to engage with this. And I'm going to just give them a minute of that. So that's kind of how I feel at the minute.
Yeah. Do you think that the rules of Instagram sort of dictate the direction that an artist can take their work? Because I wonder if Instagram allowed 15-minute videos or 10-minute videos to be posted on their feed, if that would like change things.
No, I definitely don't think that. If anything, you kind of use the blueprint that Instagram has laid out for you already. Like, they gave you a success algorithm, and like you can say that's like baiting people into like seeing your work, because you know, like, oh, when you post something like this, the algorithm will work like this, so you'll get more views and more engagement on it. But also at the same time, like, after being in Instagram for so long and like knowing that people have been on Instagram for so long, that blueprint is either something I can follow or I can take inspiration from. And I don't think people necessarily need to follow those rules, but for the sake of the video and for the sake of kind of who I am right now and what position I am at right now, if I make a 2-hour video and put that on Instagram, or I can make a 2-hour video and put that on Vimeo, I don't think people are going to watch a full 2 hours though. And I think if I try to spread out the kind of feeling and emotional connection that I want to put into 2 hours versus that 1 minute, nobody's going to get that in 2 hours, because I don't think people will even give it the kind of time for that. So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I feel like, I mean, it's always kind of been the case that like the medium, or like the place that a work is being exhibited affects the work that's being made, you know? So I feel like, you know, I mean, it's not, the internet's been out for a bit now, but it's more and more like people are making work like because of like what's available, like Instagram, like TikTok, or like you know, Vine or whatever, you know, like that's affecting not even like the duration of the work, but the type of like work, the content. It's affecting the content.
No, I definitely will say it affects the content in a way where, you know, that's where I'm at. So that's like what I'm going to give, because I'm trying to give you a kind of reflected, mirrored experience of what I'm doing and what I'm going through.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And I think what your video does, and we talked about this a bit before, I think, but it engages, or it makes the audience like participate in ways that a lot of like other work, I feel like, doesn't. Like it shines the light on the audience to kind of to analyze like themselves, I guess, because of the length of it, and because of like, I guess, like you're saying, like where the work is. Like if you were to find this on Instagram, like it's just long enough for you to catch your attention and to watch it. So I feel like making work with the audience in mind, rather than like making whatever, you know, whatever work that you wanted to make without thinking about how it was going to be consumed.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like you're hype. Through this video, it seems like you're hyper aware of how everything is being consumed, and your work specifically is being consumed.
Yeah, I mean, in a weird way, this is like, you know, I'm fighting for a chance here, a chance. It's like the fine line of like where people like will be like, oh, someone's like clout chasing and someone's just like working hard and like using the tools around them to succeed. And you know, when people are kind of throwing work into this void in the internet and like hoping for it to be seen, that's where I'm at, you know. And I'm thinking about, you know, how can I get people to engage with this video in a way where they're comfortable but not yet comfortable, or not
Right.
comfortable in the same sense. So giving them a minute and putting this on Instagram and putting this on Vimeo, you know, allows the viewer to feel at ease because, you know, like I said before, like they don't have to think about the next 1 hour and 59 minutes of like what this could be. They only have to give it a minute. And at the end of the day, I want to talk to people and I want to know what people are thinking. And that I feel like that comes from sharing what I'm thinking in a way where, you know, I'm just like making work to talk to people and reaction, and just that kind of overall feeling of that is something I keep in mind when I'm making work.
Absolutely.
Right, and it doesn't feel like a trailer or a clip from a more full video.
Yeah.
It actually stands pretty good on its own, and it does make you want to rewatch it and unpack different things that you didn't see before, like the baby photo in the beginning. I didn't notice that because it was so quick too. But that's an interesting thing to go back and catch. And you know, after a few rewatches, I rewatched it today, and there's definitely a lot of different little details that you know, you could take pause to recapture and like retake in, because there's so much to take in that full minute. So it's definitely worth watching multiple times for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, thinking about just like the baby picture, it's funny. It's actually like my little cousins, and you know, at the time, you know, I don't go home much. I'm from the Poconos, and I don't really go home at all. Actually, maybe like twice a year, once a year. But you know, thinking about how they could be reflected of me, and I'm thinking about their childhood, and just like a glimpse of that is like what I was thinking at the time. So, I mean, yeah. And also,
sorry,
oh,
no, go.
I was gonna say, unpacking this video in a form where it is in a 1 minute, and also reflection of like what people are doing right now. I don't know. I thought about that so much, and I didn't necessarily think about that in the rewatching of it, but more in the after of it.
Yeah. So I just on the subject of the family. Do you want to talk a bit about the phone call that kind of runs throughout the video?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of really interesting stuff that's like said, but it's really hard to kind of catch it because there's so much stuff going on, like music and the, you know, distractions. but it's like, it's actually what's being said is incredibly relevant to the themes of the video. I mean, of course you probably thought of that. That's why you included it. But do you want to just like talk a bit about why you put the phone call in there?
Yeah, I mean, so during that time, that's my grandpa. He lives in Harlem. He lives alone. I don't think he talks to that many people. He's very chill in his nature, kind of how he is, and you know, it was just him and a cat. So, but the thing about him is he'll call you, he'll text you probably like 5 times a day. And he calls me, or when we talk, you know, that's a 3-hour long conversation about everything. And talking with him is like making this video where I'm talking about everything under the sun. And he is telling me stories and you know, stories that kind of have no relevance to the previous talk that we just talked about. It'll just like, it kind of, when he talks to me, it acts like the video where you just cut from scene to scene to scene and imagery is coming. Because 1 minute we're talking about, you know, like biking in New York. And then the next minute he's sending me like Mercedes-Benz concept cars for 2050. I don't, and I asked him, I said, you know, like, why'd you send me this? And he's like, because I thought it was cool. And I was like, okay, cool. But yeah, it somehow he grounds me, but also like lifts me in a way where he like forces me to think about things that I never, or not never, but things that I didn't think about in the last 2 years. And then for some reason we're just rambling about nothing.
Right.
And but we're talking about everything, and that kind of like feeds the perspective and idea of like what it was to be in that moment of just like Corona, anime, Facebook, like
Repeat.
just every single thing was just like talk about it, like comment on it, scroll, and that like the conversation with him follows just like that.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like I mean, if you say it's like that's really interesting to hear that it's like a 3-hour conversation, and like maybe you picked like 20 or 30 seconds of it, like condensed or little snippets here and there. That's really cool to know that it's like from a huge script, like imagining this 1 minute like kind of extended to infinity.
No, it's so crazy. You would literally think he has like a notebook with things to
it's
bring
just
up
off the top of his head.
Yes, but you know, like I think his recent favorite thing that we've been talking about is like aliens and ancient aliens, and you know, he sends me the emails that like the channel sent him about like they're coming.
Yeah.
I never watched the show, but somehow now we're talking about ancient aliens for an hour. I don't know about aliens. So.
Yeah, I mean, he there's this one line he talks about like artificial versus organic, like we're organic, like, and that made me think about like AI and like social media, and I was like, oh my god, really? But no, but I can see.
Oh no, I was gonna say, yo, it's so crazy. Like, I forgot he said that. Like, I forgot that was something we talked about. But nah, it's wild. Like the stuff we go on about.
Yeah. Okay, we I think we might have had a question. We can a comment from John Muse. Maybe we can get to that. Maybe I wanna talk about From Loved Ones Part 2.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna watch it, right?
Yeah, we could throw that on.
So yeah, just for some back or information about that, you made a Part 2, a second version or a continuation of the video that you submitted, and I actually like watched it. It was on Vimeo like when you submitted the first one, so I watched number 2. I was like, whoa, this is like the same but super different also, and really interesting, and I immediately knew I wanted to talk to you about it. So before I talk to you about it, should we watch it?
Yeah, I could throw that on for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could because they say we organic. We were programmed that way in our DNA, in our bloodstream, and all these little different things in there, like robots. We're programmed to be organic. We're not like artificial life. We are organic. We have the ability to reason between right and wrong, to understand, to think and make adjustments, and to learn from prior mistakes.
That make me feel kind of like I'm unsuccessful. I can't. I lost. The only time I feel like that is with you. Like, you my son, my nigga.
Yeah.
I think that to just to start the discussion about that, I think it's interesting how you include yourself in the second video. Because the first video, it's your setting, your space, and the clips are overlaid on your room and your space. But for this video, you included yourself, and so it's sort of like a portrait of yourself in your mind. And I thought that was a really interesting take. Did you want to expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, the insertion of myself, I was thinking about, well, the first one is very personal, but I also felt like it was missing a touch, like a sprinkle of just me. And I think that really makes it about me at that point. And I mean, the first one was just so crazy and chaotic, and kind of it's like nature of how it's made and how it's shown. But in the second one, I really want to emphasize, like, you know, this is me and this is what I'm going through. And I don't know, the idea of if it's a portrait or if it's like a documentation of something, I mean, it can lie on both kind of spectrums of that. Yeah, I don't know. Watching the second one makes me a little more emotional because it's like a lot. That one's a lot more.
Yeah, it really is. And that shot of, or the clip from Neon Genesis Evangelion, and like cutting from that to your face when we haven't seen you in this world yet is like, that's like pretty emotional. And especially because that, I don't know, for people who know that's like a very existential anime. So it's like, I was like, are you doing okay? No, but yeah, I think the inclusion, it does alter I think the reception, or like,
I think.
Yeah. I think you froze a little bit. I mean.
Sorry.
All good.
My internet's a bit weird. Let me get it better. Marcus, you go, Marcus.
Yeah. I thought that was a really interesting cut too, from the anime to yourself, and so we sort of zoom out of what's on the screen, and then, you know, we see the real physical self, and I also think it's really interesting how you included just the clip of the MacBook screen with YouTube open on the table. And how, you know, we see the world around the computer, but then we see your world, your personal world on the computer screen. And so there's different layers. I feel like the second one does a lot of zooming in and out of physical and digital spaces. So I wanted to ask you, what were your thoughts behind deciding to put in that clip of the computer on the table?
The clip of the computer on the table is almost like an Easter egg to the people who are like kind of familiar with video art in a way. So for me, it was just like, it's blanking right now about who exactly I put on there, but to reference the piece, what it felt like for me was this like connection to that kind of like that realm, the internet realm in a way, where I was like trying to play on that to myself and an overall aspect of that. But that, like I said, like that one was just like a little Easter egg to throw in for that. And it's like one of those things where like this one I felt is definitely like a watch more than 2 to 3 times, where if you hit that and you really look that piece up, I think you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about when I say like the connection, especially the video artist who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see in the future, you know, when YouTube redesigns their homepage and things like that, to be able to go back and see how it once looked, and how old computers looked once, you know, after they're rendered obsolete, and you know those devices are old or vintage, and then those web pages are also then considered old and vintage. I'm wondering how it will feel, you know, in the future, seeing that stuff.
Have you ever used the Wayback Machine? Do you know that
Yeah,
web?
what's
It's
that?
what?
What's that?
Oh, it's a website where it caches like every like website or all the major websites from back to like 2000 or like the 19, so you can go to see what YouTube looked like in 2007.
Is this called Wayback?
So it's called Wayback Machine.
Oh, Wayback.
It's a website. Yeah, it's a really cool. It's very like just what you were talking about, Mark. It's like it's an archive of like, it's a meta internet archive of the internet. You know, it's I feel like that's relevant to that shot. Oh, Natalie just
I've been on that site, Matt. I've been on that site, and I was thinking about that. So from Loved Ones, the first video, it made me think of that site as well. It made me think of how web pages can be archival, like a photograph from the 70s of the inside of a hotel room. You know, when that photograph was taken, it wasn't considered vintage then. It was just considered, you know, this is just a hotel room.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we think of web pages. Like, this is just how YouTube looks, or this is just how Facebook looks, or Instagram. But there's going to come a time where those old web pages are archival and vintage, and something to look back on.
It's interesting, you know how like people, so in filmmaking, like now, like filmmakers try to emulate the look of films from the 70s and 80s now, and like that same concept is like can also be applied to like websites, like, and you can see people are already like, the aesthetics of some websites are like trying to mimic the websites from like early 2000s. Like I've already seen that, people trying to like make kind of like pixel art kind of like websites, and like that's really interesting. Like at what point will like what we have now be like considered, you know, something to, you know, to mirror? Or
no, I was gonna say those web pages, and you know, it's funny that we talk about this now, but I mean, to contextualize the video within like 10 years or 20 years, when you go back and watch this, I think we'll look at those web pages and kind of see them like a landscape, kind of image of like, it reminds me of, you know, what is it? The national park, what is it? Yellowstone it is. But like, it's when, you know, you kind of compare the landscapes from 1960s and to like 2010, and I think that'll kind of inform us on a lot. And I think, you know, talking about what people like are mimicking the kind of old aesthetics of that, and I don't know, I'm just like thinking about how like design is going to inform future generations, and like how this piece will kind of like go about that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's gonna be really cool to like for you to look back on this like in 10 years.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be really valuable, and just to see like where you are then and like how it kind of speaks to what you're making in 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What time is it? Should we look? I think there was
Good
a couple questions, or do we want to just take them? Michael says favorite anime.
Naruto Shippuden.
There you go.
I can't. I think about how many times I cried during that. So,
Oh, man.
but
Nice.
yeah, we can open up for questions.
Yeah, we can like kind of like we can just keep talking, and like if like when a question rolls in, we can answer. You know, you can answer it.
Yeah, I'm down for anything.
Yeah.
I kind of want to switch. I feel like I don't know if this was covered yet or not, but I want to like turn around on y'all, like thinking about this from like the curatorial side of it, like how this like being the last video in the series of Open Video Call, what was like that process like, and then seeing this video. If you guys could talk about that.
Wait,
So
how you go?
sorry, go ahead.
No. Here, go for it.
So the first time that I watched the video, I thought that it was really maximalist. I thought that there was a lot to consume, but I also felt like it made me think a lot, and that's what I felt had in common. I had that same feeling with the other videos, that they made me think. And I had, memorable feelings watching it and thought about my own life and consumption. And so that's definitely what played a part in me selecting the video and putting it forth and putting it up for discussion. Because it also touches on things that are very contemporary and really easy to talk about, and I'm not saying it's an easy subject. I'm saying that there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this subject of the internet and our attention spans and how much we consume, and flashes of images and the rapid pace of society today. I feel like it was just rich with subject matter to talk about.
Yeah. Also, I feel like maybe if you talk about like how it fits into the other videos, like it was definitely, we got a ton of submissions of like videos made during COVID, which was like, obviously since we're doing this during COVID, that's going to be a lot of the work that people are making. So I think we wanted to represent that definitely. And like, I'd say your video, Booth's video, fantastic, and Amy and Iva's video, Amy and Iva Group Inc. Those three to me were like, so because they were all three of them were made like during COVID, and they're also represented. They were also like current. They all like I could immediately relate to all of them. You know, they felt like a mirror of like looking at the world, right? Like very immediate, like not like something that's, researched and prepared and crafted. It was just so like, it's just, just here it is. Here's what's happening. So I think that from a curatorial standpoint, I like that was definitely part of the most exciting reasons why it hooked us, I think, because it felt so relevant and so like right now, contemporary.
Yeah.
if you want to.
Right, and you're one of the youngest artists that we chose. So I felt like that was also really exciting to have that point of view of this current moment from a young contemporary artist. I thought that was really important to me, and to Lino Kino, to the curators. It was important to have something of today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I was just gonna say too. I don't know if this is like revealing too much, but I remember during like kind of like the scheduling process of this, and they were like, oh, like we want to like close off with this one. So I kept thinking about that to myself. I was like, what about this is a closer? So I don't know if that's like on you guys or something else.
Oh, why? Natalie just asked the same thing. Why
Oh,
did you
bro.
choose to put it last?
Oh.
Uh-oh. We're under fire. No. Well, I mean, I like, yeah, there was some just scheduling, logistical reasons. Of course, there always is. But like looking at it, like just objectively, like I think it's cool that like the video is last, the youngest artist is last. I feel like I don't know. Yeah, I think that's like looking forward. Also, it's still incredibly like relevant. So I think and we wanted to cap it to have a flow of like, we didn't want to put all the short videos together and all the long videos together. So I think, I don't know, do you have any other ideas, Marcus, about why we chose to put it last?
About why we chose it last, put it last. I think that it I felt like we wanted to close with something that felt like it really fit with the sort of like pandemic, like Zoom times, and in the time of COVID and in the time of being online. I think that it was the perfect video. It makes the most sense for this year specifically, with everything that's going on and our shift to Zoom and taking classes from home online and working from home online and communicating with your friends online, and even dates that happen on Zoom and everything like that. I think that it just makes the most sense for this year, and it is a very contemporary exclamation point, I would say, in this year's OVC. It's the perfect medium. Even watching screen sharing and seeing the second video on my Zoom app on my laptop, it felt like it just fit that medium very well. I felt like seeing our faces in the Zoom app with your video playing next to it was almost a part of the piece. So I just think that it makes sense.
No, I feel that. I think
we have a couple. We have a question from Lloyd. Seeing your video Apex by Arthur Jaffa and Jeremy O'Harris's Coronavirus on Instagram mixtapes come to mind. Were those an influence to you at all? Are there other media artists with a strong online presence you feel that you're in conversation with?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily feel like I'm in conversation with anybody. These videos, when I make a video, the only person I really kind of try to talk to is myself in a way. These videos are just like diary entries, but the influence is from like Jeremy O'Harris's Coronavirus mixtape and influence from like Arthur Jaffa. Oh, incredible. Like, I mean, I don't want to like give all praise to Arthur Jaffa, but like, I don't know, in a way I watch his videos and I learn how to make a video, and I learn how to think about video outside of just like linear storytelling and like compilation and like kind of seeing what collages in video like that. There's another question.
Yeah, do you want to read that?
So Rebecca, so Rebecca asks, do you feel like there's a function or a place for success with slow work that exists at a much slower pace? Do you feel like lengthy work stands a chance in a quick consumption era?
Yeah, there definitely is a time and place for slow paced work. I mean, I feel like a lot during this talk I was talking about how much like I needed to make a quick pace work, and I kind of understood why I don't make that. But I mean, for instance, like movies, like there's a certain type of like meditation and headspace that you kind of go into when you have to watch video or kind of put yourself in a piece for more than 5 minutes. And when it entrenches you like that, you know, like you're really like enveloped in the piece. So I think there is room for that in this quick consumption area. But I'm saying for me in a place of, as a kind of like young artist, who's like making work very quick and kind of like on this ball to, you know, really make portfolios. I just don't see long work in my kind of near sight, but yeah, there is a place for long work, and it's not the place for me though right now, I believe. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Any other questions? I think it's okay if we go a bit over. It's almost 7, but we can go a few minutes over. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's trying to get a little dark.
Yeah, I'm losing
I
light.
turned my lamp on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went to go turn my lamp on right now, and I just noticed that I don't have it plugged in. So
Yeah.
But yeah, looks like.
Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? I'm looking at my notes to see if there's anything I didn't ask you.
I don't think there's too much on my end. I feel like we talked about everything.
Will there be a part 3?
No, I think that, you know, I tried making a piece, I tried making a part 3, and it just wasn't there for me. I didn't have it in me. So I'm sort of shifting directions into that lengthier work side to see what it's like. But I don't know if I'll actually like put something out yet.
Would you be willing to talk about what you're working on right now? If you're working on anything right now?
Yeah, I could talk about what I'm working on right now. I don't have anything to show, but I can talk about it.
Yeah.
So it touches back on the question of, is there kind of place for lengthier work? And for me, I'm trying to see what it's like about that. Right now, I'm kind of working on something in the 5-minute range, but, you know, I'm trying to, I kept questioning myself after I made this, you know, how do I make work without kind of being in a space like that? Because at that moment when I made this piece, you know, I was such in a complex place of thinking like, what's next for me? You know, I didn't have a job. My school had just ended in-person classes. I was like, damn, like I didn't know. It was like such a place of like confusion and stuff like that. But now I'm really at a place where a lot of things are being answered for me. And I'm thinking about questioning the question, like, why do I feel, you know, not content with this, even though everything that's happening right now is kind of what I asked for, you know, thinking about now that some things are over, some things are kind of more definitive, how do I take out space for myself to kind of just exist right now? And how do I just go about the everyday? And I don't exactly know where that work may take me, but as of now, I'm just kind of recording everything, taking in everything, kind of the same process, and just reaching into my own archives of like what I have and sorting through that and putting that together, you know, in the timeline and taking things out and putting things in. It's almost virtually the same process as how I made that, but this one, there's a lot more refining in it. So
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. We're excited to see what you got next.
I'll definitely be shooting it through you guys.
I'll be following.
Yeah. Oh man. Does anyone have any other questions in the chat before we depart? This was so fun.
Yeah. This is
you,
great.
Mark, for doing this. This was awesome.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've been thinking a lot about should I make like a presentation for this? Should I come with like a grandiose like kind of PowerPoint to like show this is what I was thinking. This is why I did this. But like the work, I really just want to speak to people in like a very just authentic way. So
Yeah. I definitely think it certainly does that. It definitely speaks in an authentic way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, to answer your question before about like, again, why is this video the last week 8? Like there you go. Like we couldn't have ended on a more authentic, real note,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like this was like, I don't know. It was exactly how I would have wanted OVC to end, if it had to.
Yeah.
I think there's was that
Kyle
one
says the
question?
second vid felt like a fourth wall break when you look back at the viewer. Was that intentional?
Yeah, it was really intentional because that first one, like I said, I felt like in my work I'm trying to speak to people, and the first one it didn't feel enough connection with the viewer, and then the second one I really wanted to emphasize on this is me speaking to you, this is me speaking to myself, you are me, kind of ordeal. So the fourth wall was like intensely broke, but at the same time I'm really just speaking to myself, but I want to put people in the position to think like that, or give them an opportunity to feel like that. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well,
yeah, thank you so much. This whole thing has been a real pleasure. I think this year has been a landmark OVC, and I think that it definitely speaks of its time. And I'm excited for more work in the future.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mark, and thanks so much to the ICA for making this possible and giving us the chance to select and feature artists. This was a crazy opportunity, and it was so much fun. And I hope we had good conversations, and I hope people enjoyed all 8 videos. So they're all 8 videos are going to be on the ICA website. I think until the end of the year, and they're also going to be physically in the ICA on a screen, like facing the street, so you can like walk by and like see from loved ones as you're strolling through West Philly. So that's pretty cool. But thanks to Natalie and everyone else at the ICA. Thanks to Beth for captioning. So there's going to probably be a survey for everyone to fill out, who's all the viewers to fill out after this video. So you might get a link to that, just a heads up. Natalie says, recordings of these conversations are available here. And all of the chats that we had with the artists are all on the ICA's YouTube channel. So catch those. You could, if you missed any of them and you're interested in seeing the conversation, if you've watched the video, those will all be on the YouTube channel. Thanks, Mark. This was awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Mark, and thank you, ICA.
Yes, we can't thank everyone enough.
Yeah, thank Lino Kino.
Really.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Well, signing
Close it
off.
out.
All right.
I'm so sad it's over.
I know.
Great.
It's emotional.
To go out though. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
I would cry.
Man.
I mean, no, there's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Put together a show.
It was gonna be in person first. It was gonna be live. That's how we. Now it's online, but it's better. It's better, honestly, because now everyone can tune in who's not in Philly. Just everyone over the world can watch. It's super cool. And yeah,
First one that takes place online.
I think it turned out great. And yeah, let's sign off before we just ramble forever.
I was about to say, yeah. I was like, do we just keep going?
I mean, it's the last one. They wouldn't.
I was about to say,
cut us.
I feel like this is like the when you're in the movie theater and the credits just keep going even after like they showed like like the next one to like the trailer. It's like the next movie, like the Avengers type movie, and the credits just keep going forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just talking forever.
The blooper reel. Yeah. All right.
Right.
All right. I'm gonna go. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you everyone for watching also.
Bye.
All right. Bye.